Hey everybody, Paul Gray here again, welcoming you to Convertible Conversations, which I got to remind you is the title of my new book coming out at the end of November. Give you some more information about that later. Now, this week we've been doing a little 5-part series. This is the third part of looking at Welcome to the New, and the new being the new creation that we have all been made to be in Christ. And I'm going to give you today the Mirror translation of this passage. It's 2 Corinthians 5, 14 through 17. Here's how Francois du Toit translates this. The love of Christ resonates within us and leaves us with only one conclusion. Jesus died humanity's death. Therefore, in God's logic, every individual simultaneously died. Only the love of Christ can make a calculation of such enormous proportion. Theology would question the extremity of God's love and perhaps prefer to add a condition or two to a statement like that. Francois's got a little sense of humor. Verse 15. Now, if all were included in his death, they were equally included in his resurrection. This unveiling of his love redefines human life. Whatever reference we could have of ourselves outside of our association with Christ is no longer relevant. This is radical, he says, in our most defining moment. No label that could possibly previously identify someone carries any further significance. Even our pet doctrines of Christ are redefined. Whatever we knew about him historically or sentimentally is challenged by this conclusion. By discovering Christ from God's point of view, we discover ourselves and every other human life from God's point of view. Paul sees by revelation that what Jesus redeemed in every person brings absolute closure and death to any other reasoning and judgment we may have had of ourselves or anyone else for that matter. This is our metanoia moment. From now on, therefore, we no longer know anyone according to the flesh, even though we once knew Christ from a human religious point of view. And then here's verse 17 for today. In light of your co-inclusion in his death and resurrection, whoever you thought you were before in Christ, you are a brand new person. The old ways of seeing yourself and everyone else are over. Acquaint yourself with the new, or as Mercy Me is titled one of their recent albums, Welcome to the New. He goes on to, in his translation, to say this. Just imagine this. Whoever a person was as a Jew or Greek, and I've added some things of today in this, slave or plantation owner, Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, Buddhist or Muslim, Native American or later American, Chinese, Japanese, or Congolese, is now dead and gone. They all died when Jesus died. Remember, we're not talking law language here. He goes on to explain the if any man is in Christ, which is the way it's usually translated, is not a condition. It's the conclusion of the revelation of the gospel. Man is in Christ by God's doing. The verses of 2 Corinthians 5, 14 to 16 give context to verse 17. He goes on to say, for so long we studied verse 17 on its own and interpreted the if as a condition. But Paul did not say, if any man is in Christ. He said, therefore, if any man is in Christ. The therefore immediately includes verses 14 to 16. If God's faith sees every man in Christ in his death, then they were certainly also in Christ in his resurrection. And he closes with this. Jesus did not reveal a potential you. He revealed the truth about you so that you may know the truth about yourself and be free indeed. In the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, God did not redeem a compromised replica of you. He rescued the original blueprint you, the original blueprint you, created in his radiant mirror likeness. Any other, quote, self, unquote, you're trying to find or esteem you're trying to find will disappoint you. Reckon your do-it-yourself law of work self dead and your redeemed self co-raised and co-seated together with Christ. This is freedom indeed. And indeed it is. Hope you're getting a better picture today and every day of who you are as a new creation in Christ. Totally loved by God, totally included by God, totally accepted by God. God's not out there somewhere. He's in you and you're in him. And he did that and he loves it. And he loves you and he likes being with you. We'll look at a little more tomorrow. Paul Gray saying, so long for now.